Today we can see a number of reports that the Independent Police Complaints Commission have set out and to inform those people who are really interested to find out what went wrong with the tragic circumstances surrounding Bijan Ebrahimi. I believe that this may bring closure to some agencies, but it will never bring closure to his sisters. His sisters I have met on a number of occasions, and their grief and their way of making sure that we get something positive coming out of this is really important. The constabulary let Bijan down. There are a number of opportunities where things should have happened and they didn't. One of my jobs as the Police and Crime Commissioner is to ensure and scrutinise that the constabulary are doing what local people want. And I can say that since the tragic circumstances of the murder of Bijan, is that there has been a root and branch analysis of what went wrong within the constabulary, what should have happened, how they put it in place, and then more importantly, how that can be consistent throughout the next few years. So we are making sure, one of my jobs is to make sure that we are never complacent and that we can prevent and do all we can to prevent anything like this happening again. When I reflect back on what happened in 2013, in July, I was actually in the control room in Bristol City Council when this call came through. And I have spent these last few years ensuring that this tragic death is never something that we put in our past, that we carry it forward with us and always reminding ourselves about what has happened. But what's happened now, what's really changed now, is that we have now made it part of the first priority now in the Police and Crime Plan is protecting the most vulnerable. And that was something I promised Bijan's sisters that I would do, and I've delivered that in the Police and Crime Plan. We've also set up Lighthouse, which is a support system for those people who are vulnerable, who are intimidated, who are persistently targeted. All those which Bijan would have crossed that hurdle. So it's really important that we now have a system that would be, I wish had been around in 2013, but would now be holding Bijan's hand if he was still alive. There have been a number of initiatives being delivered by the police, and one of the things I'm really impressed with is that the one team approach. So not just only being with the police, but working with other agencies. So in South Bristol, we have a weekly meeting now led by the neighbourhood manager, who works with mental health partners, with adult care, housing, and a variety of other agencies and community representatives to ensure that they are delivering on the ground. Because it's all very well having strategies, but what's important is that what comes out from the strategy actually changes behaviour on the ground, and that's what I'm so pleased with. Well, first of all, the police, as I've said, have done this root and branch analysis of what went wrong, and they've looked at the way that they operate. So they have changed the operating model, and that was not just something internally, but that was scrutinised by many external partners to make sure that the police were going in the right direction. The officers and PCSOs and staff have all undergone training. They've undergone training on hate crime and unconscious bias. So really important so that people understand where we as individuals, where we stand, but also making sure that we recognise the victim. What's also critical is that we have made sure that we are listening much more to the voice of the victim. So many meetings now that I attend with the constabulary, we have got the voice of the victim being recognised. The constabulary are far more victim focused than they ever have been, and my job is to make sure that that is continually driven through everything that they do over the next few years. It has taken too long. it, I'm as frustrated as many people have shared with me. But there were two processes that had to be finished first. So we had to finish the criminal justice process, where two officers, PCSO and an officer, were sent to custody. The constabulary also had to finish the disciplinary processes, which was held by an independent, legally qualified chair. And then the IPCC had to finish their report. But I am concerned about the length of time, and I wish it happened quicker, if only for the sake of the sisters of Bijan. But we all have eyes and ears, and when we see things that we think are wrong, then I would urge everyone to come forward to report it to the police. Because actually local residents can see things long before any of the agencies such as the police are ever going to recognise, and so we want them to come forward. So if you see things, please don't ever feel that someone else may report it or that it won't go anywhere. We urge you to do that. The Chief Constable and I wrote a joint letter early on this year saying that there will be zero tolerance to hate crime. So all hate crime will be investigated and they will be looked at, but I urge you all to come forward and report things that you think are just plain wrong.